Coming to you from Star Studios in Denton, Texas, and Tom Collins Signs in Limerick, Ireland. This is Coffee with a Sign Painter, a podcast hosted by sign painter Sean Starr and Tom Collins. This groovy soundtrack was written and performed by Fergal Lawler of the Cranberries. Thanks, Fergal.
Hey there, Tom.
Hi, Sean.
How you doing?
How's it going?
It's going all right. We got weather's changing here finally, which for our area of the country is warm weather hangs on pretty well. So it's still probably really warm compared to where you're at. What did you say the temperature was out there tonight?
It's -1 tonight, and it's heading for -6 over the weekend.
Okay, since I'm an American, and Americans think that they like the universe revolves around them. -1 is like just below freezing. Is that what that is?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how
it's just
we've maintained staying on the standard or American standard or whatever the thing is, but you know, the rest of the world's metric.
Yeah, well, this is it. We've got kilometers now on our signs, on our speedometers. I can't follow it.
No,
at all. No, I'm completely.
What did you have before?
Miles and you know, everything was miles.
Seriously?
And feet. Yeah, feet, inches, miles, and you know, suddenly it just went metric, and it was like, gee, I missed the memo. You know, I mean, I didn't really pay attention in school most of the time, but I really didn't pay attention when they were talking about the metric system.
Idea. I thought you guys were all metric.
No, because it was one of the things we were forced at, by the British, you know, was this whole imperial system. Yeah, well, I suppose like when I started, you know, sign writing, and in the early '90s, it was already in, but I was trying to. So yeah, I was picture framing for a while, part-time picture framing in a gallery, and just before I got into sign writing, and everything was metric. I was like, what? You know, it's like we're all these zeros, you know, and so lots of stuff was cut the wrong size. There was lots of stuff thrown in the bin, and I used to work in a nightclub quite late, so you know, everything for the first hour was wrong, but you know, to try and work between the two, because most people will give you measurements in a combination of metric and imperial, so you end up getting sizes that come in from customers, from architects, from joiners and carpenters. And it's a combination of imperial and metric.
Horrible.
You know, because people, half the brain is thinking in imperial, the other half is thinking in metric. It's really boring for everybody, isn't it? Let's change the subject.
Okay, so in a little bit we're going to play an interview that you did with some folks in your town that have a coffee shop named Canteen, correct?
Canteen, correct.
Yeah,
correct. That's right, Canteen.
And
they were great. We worked with Full City Rooster Mike Wyatt, as you know, flew in last year for the show we did,
right,
and brought a lot of coffee with him, and Canteen, in the form of Paul Williams and Dalton Green and some others. They kind of facilitated the whole pop-up barista at the opening at the exhibition, and helped us, they really got behind us and got people to come down and check it out, and and this time around we're doing another project with them where they're helping us out, and that's kicking off tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. A buddy of mine, Martin Finnan, who's a painter, an artist that I know from way back, we used to do Christmas windows when we were starting out, when we were living in Cork, and you'd make more money doing one Christmas window in an hour than you'd make in a whole weekend working in a bar or in a nightclub.
So you do like winter scenes, that kind of thing?
Correct. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Butchers were the best to pay.
Really?
Because, they just want, turkeys and reindeers or whatever. It's really easy. Fill up the window full of, kind of snow and stuff. Simple. And they get, £50. I'd work a whole weekend for £50. Okay. And again, this is before our currency changed from pounds to euro, and it's probably going to go back to pounds now with Brexit and Europe falling apart and everything. But anyway, at the time it was like, wow, we'd loads of money coming up to Christmas every year. But in a way, there was anonymity because we were away from home. We were in Cork. Nobody really knew us, so we didn't care who saw us doing Christmas windows and Santa and all this stuff. But we were joking about it recently, and actually in Canteen, we were having a coffee in Canteen, and a few days later, Martin texted me and said, let's for old time's sake, let's do a couple of days Christmas windows, but we'll do it at home, we'll do it in Limerick, and whatever we make, we'll donate it to a local charity.
Okay. See, I saw you post about that on Instagram, but I didn't really understand. Probably me not taking the time to read it clearly, but...
Well, you can blame Conor Bacant and his graphic design skills, because a lot of people are asking me to clarify exactly what it is. There's very small type at the bottom as to what exactly was going on. But yeah, the idea was that we would over 2 days do 7 windows or 7 businesses windows. So some of them have 7 windows in one business, and some of them have 14 windows, and some of them have 2 large ones. So we've our work cut out for us. Mm-hmm. We've a tough couple of days ahead of us, but Martin's artwork and style of painting and drawing is so loose and playful that for me it's going to be a lot of fun, because I can drop all that kind of the ordered symmetry of what we do every day.
Yeah,
just have fun.
Yeah.
So and wherever we go, we're gonna get free coffee and.
So you're starting at 7 a.m. and it's negative one degree. Like, how is that gonna work?
Well, yeah, we really choose our moments, We really pick them. I mean, it's going to be cold. We're working on everything we're going to be doing is going to be on the reverse side. So we're going to be inside working on glass. And I had this idea that Martin would send me the artwork, and I'd create patterns for each of the businesses, and then we'd get there really quickly and we'd bang it out, like thinking like a sign painter. Of course, Martin wasn't thinking like a sign painter. Martin was thinking like an artist. They kept changing the design all the time,
right.
and it was like, it just became let's just wing it. Because I was busy for the last kind of week or two running up to this, and it got to the point where I didn't have time to prep anything because it was changing so much.
Right.
But it's going to be cool, and I have something to show you here. This is one of our collection boxes. You see that?
Oh, that's cool. That's like all steampunk or something.
Yeah. It's a fake. Look, fake snow. So it's a fake snow machine, and you put your contribution in here. And this is some of Martin's artwork, where he has robotic robins, and he has just very.
Who made that? Who actually made that?
My buddy Peter McDonough, who's he does all my kind of CNC and laser built up work for me. He's actually an architect. He helped us last year with remodeling our home. He's a great guy to work with.
You need to post a picture of that on Instagram. That's cool.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. That'll go up tomorrow. So each business gets one of these. This is Peter's donation. And look, it's got all these moving parts and everything.
It's really cool.
But it was part of Martin's artwork, and I handed it to Peter, and I said, could you make up something, a collection box maybe with some of the artwork put on it. I didn't realise he was actually going to physically make one of the quirky designs that Martin had. So that's going to be nice, I hope.
And the charity, is it the same charity for when we did love letters out there?
Correct. Yeah, they've actually now become 2 groups, and they alternate between the nights they weren't covering the one group. So now there's 2 groups covering all those nights.
All I see is your shoulder.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
I'm back.
All right.
Yeah, same group, Sean.
Okay, cool.
It's
suicide prevention there on the Shannon River, right?
That's right. Correct.
Very awesome.
And yeah, absolutely. So we're going to give them whatever we make. We're going to split it between them. I think so one group has access to the river where they go in with a jet ski, and the other try to just observe and keep an eye on things on the walkways and bridges. And maybe if they have to go in, they'll do that too. So I think the fact that this time of the year as well, it's a crunch time of the year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So people are under a lot of financial pressure, and not everybody gets on with their families and friends, and fall out. And, you add alcohol into the mix and other things, and they have a lot of people that they come across who are just wandering around, really, looking like they need to be kind of led away from harm's way, and so they try to just get a kind of get them talking. And when we did the project last year, I was talking to them around the same time, and they were trying to get a little van that they could sit them into and warm them up and get the person to have maybe a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And try to get them talking, and maybe get a phone number out of them. A family member could then come and take them out of that situation. So it wasn't like they were rugby tackling people and dragging them, kicking and screaming all the time. It was this other more gentler approach that they were doing. So that's who we're doing it for, and we're making the artwork freely available to anyone who wants it anywhere in the world. So if you're a school or a community centre, or someone who just wants to that likes the idea of it and thinks actually if I like the artwork, then we're going to make the artwork available to you. And look up Martin Finnin, Finnin. Look up his work, and he's someone who is like we had a mutual friend who took his own life. And so for us, it's a no-brainer, really.
It's been a few years for me, but years ago I was in a dark place more than once, so understand the value of those types of groups.
Well, this is it, and now that you're out the other side, and again, I'm someone who feels like I'm really blessed to be where I am now. I wasn't always here. But I feel like I can now give something back, a little.
Yeah.
And that's so I think it's important to do that if you can do it. If you've something left over after you take care of everything else.
Yeah.
That you try to do that. But it wasn't always the case for me either. So I really do feel very fortunate, and the fact that Martin asked me to do it, I said yeah, okay. And Nikki, of course, has to get her window done in the school as a priority.
Yeah.
Once that's done, she's all on board and very happy to get involved as well. So we have the kids in the school doing a project on Martin's artwork.
Okay,
which is kind of cool.
Very cool.
And our son's national school down the road are also involved, and the primary or the principal there, a very nice man, Dermot Moore, and we approached him, and he said, "Yeah, great, let's get involved." And so
good on you, Tom Collins.
Well, look, come here. We're going to need some help from you as well to get that out there, and maybe even get that up on our site, perhaps. We have sort of a good cause site, don't we, Sean?
Yeah.
You and me.
Yep.
So that might be there for people to kind of access if they want to go onto
Signpainterslimerick.com.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Or else they can direct message us if they've problem accessing it, and we'll send it out. And they can do what they want with it. They can add, subtract, multiply. We're going with a very simple palette of colours, which will be our friends AS Handover again coming to the rescue from London, and sending us so many liquid chalk markers that I could open a shop and sell liquid chalk markers for the rest of my life. But it'll be quick and fast to kind of draw with on the glass. Lots and lots and lots of white, silver leaf, which is cool. Transfer silver.
Very cool. Yeah.
And my local paint suppliers here, Limerick Paint Supplies, are giving us great colours and blues, just like lots of blues.
Very cool.
So it's going to be this really just nice palette of colours that we go with everything, I think, and each place has allowed us to kind of come in. We haven't shown them any artwork. We said we're just coming in to do the work, and they said okay, we'll see what happens. That's it. That's the plan anyway.
It'll be awesome. It will.
I hope so. That's what's going on. That's what's going on, as well as the fact that I got 5 whiskey mirrors out of the studio today that had been in the studio for a year and a half.
Ooh, that's a feeling of weight off your shoulders right there.
Absolutely, and income coming into
all of these things converging at once.
And there you go. So now I can really afford to do this.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Nonsense side project
with no pressure over your head. Yeah, you can just go out and enjoy it.
Exactly. I just wish it wasn't so close to the wire every time I try and do anything. That just definitely a pattern emerging.
It seems to work that way.
Does it? Yeah. So, and listen, you're busy as well with other projects and cool gallery show coming up.
Yeah, we've talked about this for a while, Kaylee and I, and in the last month, several really awesome things converged, and so now we have a gallery in the Dallas Design District. It's going to be called the Star Gallery, and it's the main focus is going to be the Vert Eagle Mosaic gold leaf on glass artwork, but we're also talking about bringing in rotating shows, and so I will be hitting up my sign painting buddies that I have developed over the years, and we're going to do some shows there, and it's going to be awesome.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's something I never thought would be possible, but it's not only possible, it's already happened, and so now it's just cool stuff ahead.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, look, it sounds like Dallas is really, a fun place to do something like this as well. It's got this design district. Is that what a gallery is?
Yeah, it's the northwestern section of downtown Dallas, and in this area, there, if I read correctly on the Dallas Design District website, there's 380 plus galleries in just this neighborhood.
Wow.
It's
cool.
It's a major art center for this part of the United States. So I think it'll be good. It'll be really cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that, Sean Star.
Well, you'll be out here to see it.
Yeehaw! Actually. Yeah. But getting back to our friends in Canteen, I will say that it's almost like this little hub as well that you're describing. It's almost like it's a cafe, but it's got this kind of a gallery vibe as well.
Yeah,
it's very
we had
minimalist,
coffee. Kaylee and I had coffee with you there the one morning, and we also went on our own there one morning. And a really cool place. It's got
tiny,
it's got an energy. Yeah, it's cool.
That's right. Yeah, and you know, if you sit there long enough, you'll meet someone and you'll end up dreaming up some project with them, you know, that will lose you money. But look, hey, you know, it'll be. But the guys have a really good team of staff there as well. Paul himself worked in London for a very well-known, here anyway, celebrity chef guy called Heston Blumenthal. I think that's his name. And he does everything with dry ice, and you know, it's all these kind of like, he's one of these kind of showman type kind of celebrity chefs, and he worked with him for a period of time, and so his food is really, really good for, you know, a cafe, and very precise, very you know, very measured with everything he does. And there's a really good barista with him, Dalton, and a really nice girl called Tiffany from Denver in Colorado. And you know, other really lovely people involved as well, who are allowing us to start off with them, make all the mistakes we're going to make on their windows, right? And the fact that, you know, a lot of the kind of the art kind of crowd go there, the business community go there. It's one of those places that gets everybody. You know, and
what's the neighborhood they're in? You took us down there, and it's like a historical area and some other stuff. What is that neighborhood of Limerick?
Well, it's the Georgian quarter.
Georgian, okay.
And I grew up a couple of blocks from there, so our home would have been built during that period as well, kind of 1840s. You know, 1870s, that kind of period. And it was King George the something, 4th or 5th, couldn't tell you really. But so it became known as the Georgian period, and then Edward was after him, so that became known as the Edwardian period, and Victoria was after that, and it was the Victorian period. You know, so all these, you know, reigns of monarchs in England, and you know, and all the architecture and building skills that you know, that were around that period became known after them, you know, because they were in power at the time. And yeah, so it's a lovely old part of the city, and it's actually you know, there's all sorts of plans to try and get people to move back in, and families to move back in after 20 or 30 years of people moving out of the city centre to suburbs.
Okay.
So my brother's moved back from Barcelona recently and bought a house just around the corner.
He's the Canteen. Artist, right?
He's the artist.
Yeah.
And you know, it's encouraging. We need to see a lot more of it, but it's certainly encouraging to see that there's a shift back towards living back in the city again, and taking these old buildings on. And you know, they need a lot of TLC and, you know, deep pockets to get them moving again, but they're great because they have lovely proportions, lovely high ceilings, big windows. They're great for natural light and for painting and for creative spaces. Okay. You know, and we, as I say, we grew up in a house like that with no central heating, so it was freezing this time of the year. You know, fireplaces in every bedroom and pretty much every room actually. There were fireplaces. You know, it's like something like Charles Dickens, you know. Yeah. When I think about it, really, you know. Yeah. So that's that. So I interviewed them a couple of months ago, and it was around the time of the anniversary of our exhibition, and the fact that, you know, they were just in my radar at the time, and so we had a coffee and we had a chat, and I suppose what we might, you know, play for the listeners now would be that conversation. Okay.
Well, before we do that, though, you know, we do have to talk music. I mean, we'll get to Canteen, okay, but the important stuff, like, what have you been listening to?
Well, I get most of my playlist out of Canteen now. This is sad. It's the Canteen episode, you know.
Do you really? Or is this some shameless plug? No, what are they giving you, Tom? Do you get free lunch there? What's going on?
I don't. That's the thing. I get a discount where I go. A lot of places.
You are giving
give me
them
a discount.
International exposure to a huge audience of podcast listeners, and they don't even cook you up with lunch.
Yeah, I'm wearing a T-shirt here from the place that I actually designed the T-shirt.
Okay, cool, very nice.
Well, I didn't design it as a T-shirt. I was scribbling on my coffee break, and someone came in and photographed it, and then it became, I see the staff wearing it, so I said, I'll have one of these.
Yeah. I like it. Nice.
What's that?
I said I like it.
Yeah, but Canteen, nothing, right?
For those of you that are listening, Tom is doing a striptease act on his side of the video, so I had to build up his self-esteem.
Thanks, Sean. And there's another place, just while I'm at it, that they actually have on the menu a Tom Collins salad. It's my salad. I feel like Larry David here.
You really have your own salad?
I have my own salad.
For real?
And, yeah, for real. And they give me a really good discount as well, because I go in there so often for this particular salad. But this Canteen crowd never give me anything. Anyway, right. I love them for bits.
I'm hoping that this episode might shame them into giving you some freebies.
No, it won't make an ounce of difference. It will make zero difference.
They'll start charging you extra.
Yeah, that's why I love them. But what I do get out of them on a regular basis is really good tips. So the Bon Iver people, the Bon Iver crowd, Canteen.
Okay.
I'm in there this week, and I had to take Spotify off my phone or not Spotify, what's called Shazam. I had to take Shazam off my phone. Do you have that app?
I don't know. I'm so tech retarded.
Well, Shazam is like if you're in a cafe and you hear something, you go, "Oh, that's really good. What is it?" Well, you hit Shazam, and it picks up.
My buddy Hal does that everywhere we go. He's out there capturing songs to figure out what they are.
Well, I like not to do Shazam. I like to try and kind of figure out who it is, and then wear down the barista by kind of saying, is that a, I go through a bunch of, and really what I'm trying to do is show off my range, like what bands I know, but I'm usually kind of hitting and missing. But this week I got a really good one called Bonono. Yeah, Bonono. I think I pronounced that correctly. Okay, and it's really good.
There's a lot I don't know.
And that came. Well, this is just two. That makes two of us. But that came through Canteen, so I'm all about the Canteen this week.
Okay, well, all right. There's nothing wrong with that. I've been re-exploring. Like I'm going through a time warp of my always changing, very eclectic musical taste. So I've kind of been going through. And our days are getting shorter here, and it's a little darker and colder, and so it's like a more music mood. But like the other day, I was listening to Cocteau Twins' Bluebell Knoll album, and just a lot of music from that era. Sisters of Mercy, dug into them again. Just I guess that would be late 80s, early 90s kind of, tone of what I've been listening to. Of course, I don't do it that often, even though I'm a big Smiths and Morrissey fan. It like puts me in a little bit of a funk sometimes, so I don't listen to it often, but I've been listening to them.
Right. Well, I'll tell you something. Was this last week? I was out in the University of Limerick. And I had some business to take care of at the concert hall out there. And there was a Canadian film crew out there who were they were getting this. There was a lecture on in the concert hall from a Mexican author who wrote a book on Morrissey, which you'll be amazed to hear that he actually endorsed.
Really?
Yeah, I don't pick yourself up off the floor, because the guy I was with is a very nice man called Professor Owen Devereux, who I think has written 2 books about Morrissey and the Smiths. Was very excited about this about this author coming, and the fact that he has a huge following in Mexico, and this it's called I think it's called Morris Landia is the name of the book.
Okay. Huh. Interesting.
So check it out.
Yeah. I heard Johnny Marr just wrote a book too.
He did indeed. That's correct. I read a couple of little snippets that were in the paper in the magazine from it, and it looks like a really good read.
Yeah, my buddy Colin out in L.A. He actually went to the book signing and talked to him for a little bit, and
oh, excellent.
Yeah, that was last week. So, okay, so now we're going to roll it into this Canteen interview, where you're talking to Canteen, and they're still charging you for your coffee, I'm assuming, while you're interviewing them for an international podcast. Unbelievable.
Oh, ouch.
So it's kind of herniated there somewhere between protruding and slipped.
Ouch.
So at the moment I'm having the Jimi Hendrix experience of days. It's all good. Yeah, I feel no pain. I'm in the studio, I'm getting work done. I'm in good form.
You didn't bring any of the drugs for us, no?
Sorry, get your own. Tiffany met Nikki and myself a couple of days ago. We were putting up a sign downtown.
Yeah, at Bon and Tea.
That's it. And it was Cúpla Focal. So
we had
the Asqueilga little interaction thing, which was nice.
Yeah, that was very good.
And really, this is just I think we have a little bit of history in that, this kind of grew out of the exhibition that we did last year in the Fab Lab, and I should say where I am. I'm in Canteen on Mallow Street, and I've Paul Williams, right? I've got Dalton Green, and I've got Tiffany
Glenn. Yeah.
Is that your marriage name or maiden name?
No, that's maiden name.
And let's go with the
married name.
Where are you from?
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. From Colorado.
Colorado. Okay.
Fort Collins. Shout out to Fort Collins, Colorado. Okay. Anyone out there? Hi.
And Dalton, where are you from?
I don't usually disclose this, but Tipperary, North.
Tip?
Yeah, North Tip.
North Tip?
Yeah.
Wow, even worse than Tip.
I'm not sure why you're shaking my hand.
Because I'm half North Tip.
That's awful.
What's the other half?
Limerick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Paul?
I'm from Clonmel.
South Tip. South Tip.
Yeah.
We're okay. We're okay with that.
All right. We're all the one Tipperary now.
That's true.
They've amalgamated it to just Tipperary.
The county councils and all that. Yeah. Work things out.
Oh, wow.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but they're...
Yeah.
Well, I suppose, look, I was kind of dragged in here kicking and screaming a couple of years ago by my friend Fergal, who said this is the best coffee in town, and I had this kind of psychological barrier with, the sign at the time. I remember saying to Paul when we kind of got chatting, it wasn't the traditional hand-painted sign, and I was being a bit of a snob about it. I'm not putting it there, but it was worth it. And now since I came in, we got to know each other, and we worked together on that project. And you were great at the time, and you gave an awful lot of your time and energy. And I know you lost your shirt on it, and thank you very much. Right? But you did the pop-up coffee for the opening, and our friend from Full City Rooster, Michael, came in from Dallas, who brought some coffee with him, and we were able to brew that up and get everyone into good form. And we ended up, having a great night, So there was that, and just the fact that this is a place where I'd come in from time to time, chat away, and it's been in recent months, I suppose, a lot of activity here. A little hub here, grew out of the project that the city was having, and people meeting and people bumping into each other, and having those exchanges, and getting to know people who are doing different things around it. And it was just nice that it seemed to be happening here. And for me, kind of being from this part of town, only a couple of blocks away from here, I find it surprising that this spot, this location, became that, because nothing ever seemed to really work here before you came here. There were lots of businesses that would come and go and wouldn't really last 5 minutes, But obviously, it's down to the more than just the business, isn't it? It's the people, and it's.
Yeah, I think luck has to do with it as well. It was the time in the economy.
when we moved into the street, there was only one other business, but now all the shop units are full as well.
Right.
So it kind of, we just were, as the economy started to pick up, I opened up. Maybe the first year was a bit too early, but now the street's full, and the bank across the way has, a tech hub in it, and a politician has moved in next door to bring down the bring the neighbourhood down to the gutter.
A blue shirt.
Yeah, but when I opened up, there was prostitutes up in the corner every.
That's right.
4 o'clock.
Yeah, I used to do signs for them actually.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah, price lists. Yeah.
Wow, I mean, your work really breaks a lot of social and cultural barriers as a sign maker.
Some would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't be on my website now, right?
Hey, everyone needs a good sign for their business. That's all I say.
Well, they say sign painting is the world's second oldest profession.
What? Oh, cool. I was about to ask what the first one was, but I know that joke. It's not a joke. Good joke.
And I suppose really what the reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast and to chat to you is really just to kind of find out for sure who had the best glasses, me or Heston Blumenthal.
Oh, he did, Tom.
Which one's Heston
Who had him
Blumenthal?
first? The chef, gastronomic chef, science chef.
No, I don't know.
Extraordinaire.
Cool. No, but I will look him. I'll look him up right
Do you
now.
look him up? You look
Okay.
him up?
Yeah, he had.
Wait, who wore it better? That's what we're doing. Okay.
He had
Who
very
better
trendy
who wore it
glasses.
first?
But he also had the dry ice, and I don't have any of that either.
Yeah.
So he pulled it off. He had the whole package.
He had the mad scientist look.
He did the smoke and mirrors. I had the mirrors, but he had the smoke.
You're the one on drugs.
I
so-
swear to God, my phone listens to me because I typed in HES and it said Heston Blumenthal,
There you go.
and I swear it listens to me. I would say your glasses are better.
Well, this is the thing, because our anniversary's coming up, and Nikki said to me, "Okay, get a good recipe from Paul, for our anniversary that you can make, because my skill set will be fairly limited in the kitchen, And so I'm hoping maybe you can give Heston a call there and get him on FaceTime or something."
I'd say that your glasses with the yellow. I mean, I feel like the pop of color really helps. These are
His are a bit science.
These are a bit Dexter's laboratory. Yeah,
but that's the look he's going for.
Which is totally fair. But I just think that I'd say that you're pulling ahead for me with the bold yellow frame.
Well, I suppose look, this is the thing. This is your background as well as engineering, and you had a kind of
A broad
spectrum of experience. You were teaching as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I taught out in Shannon Hotel College, and I worked in the Fat Duck for a while.
Right.
So I suppose it all helps to inform what you do. Kind of adds to your knowledge of cooking or service or.
Sure. And eliminate what you don't want to do. And
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because that was all fine dining or out in Shannon College. It was all, you're teaching hotel managers, so it's all about how to do 5-star really well.
Right.
That's not really what we do here.
Sure. Well, this is the thing. This is why I suppose the place has been a hit. It's very creative. It's one of the things I think that a lot of the people that come in here who are creative identify with the place. It is, you're doing creative stuff, and it's, some days you have a good product that's it's very simple and every now and again it seems like you kind of you do something that nobody's expecting you to do. It's great. And the culture and chips thing is another thing.
Yeah.
It's another thing that you do that kind of brings people along with you from other all the offices and all the other kind of suits come in as well who like that, who kind of want to be around that, you know what I mean?
Well, it was funny, I listened to a podcast that I told Dalton about. It was about restaurant design. This guy designs restaurants in London, and these are 150, 200 seater. But he was saying you don't design a restaurant for any one particular tribe of people, because if you do, it just alienates. If you just done one for artists, they'd only come in, and then someone in a suit would feel uncomfortable.
Right.
Or if you'd done one just for suits, for the business people, then artists don't feel comfortable. So if you create kind of a neutral space, then everyone feels comfortable.
Right. And was that in your mind?
Yeah, well, something stripped back or something, maybe some design focus, but no, I wasn't aiming it towards any one particular person.
Well, it allows the work to kind of shine through more, doesn't it? And not just like kind of the decoration, and color scheme, and
Well, a lot of design now in restaurants is, good design. You shouldn't really see the design.
True.
It should be about the food or the atmosphere, not about how many bulbs or what tiles you have on the wall or how many chandeliers you can get in.
Yeah, and there is. It's almost like you can it's almost predictable now what a new place is
Yeah.
going to look like, isn't it? When you see there's activity in a new place and you go in and it's kind of got the tiles and it's got the
or the place that's trying to be the Ritz and it's down in Listowel or Ballybunion and they open up and they have chandeliers and you know you're in a country town. How fancy do you want to be?
Or like the Shabby Chic Cafe is a pretty popular one.
Yeah.
You know, just like with the sort of funky plastic chandeliers that give you, with those little, you know what I'm talking about, those little almost faceted plastic discs hanging from them. You know what I'm talking about? And, you know, with throw pillows that sort of intentionally are mismatched.
Right, okay.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah, but good design is expensive and you're opening a cafe, you're not going to get the money back. You know, a good designer is... You know, an architect's going to want 10% of the build cost or design cost, and he's not going to even build it. So, you know, it's easier to copy than to create.
And imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, right?
It is indeed.
That's what we hear.
Get a craftsperson like Tom Collins
Was
to
it
do
Mark
your sign, and that's your budget blown.
Completely.
Was it Mark Twain that said that, Paul? The imitation is the sincerest form of flattery?
Was it Mark?
I'm making up quotes all week and attributing them to random people.
One of the things I really do enjoy about this is quote banter that Dalton and myself have when I come in. Usually around his handmade, tailored aprons, which I haven't seen for a while. Dalton, what's going on there?
She moved to Canada, so I didn't have something
she
to
took
do.
the apron with her?
Well, she didn't quite take the apron, but one
Should
is
the
for
apron off
winter
your back?
wear, so I'm in kind of the spring summer wear at the minute. So the autumn-winter wear will come in soon enough. So
Oh, you have another apron?
I do, yeah.
Is it made out of canvas that you have to treat with beeswax?
Not quite, but close. I have a suede brush for it now, so, and I can zip off the bottom and then wash it. So.
Oh, you can zip it off.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is some
But
serious
these are things that make this place, for me anyway, not the norm. You know, it's really just the tunes that you play. You know, I mean, everyone's got different tastes in music, and that's kind of permitted and it's encouraged. I don't know. I think it is anyway. It seems like it is.
It's kind of severe contention most of the time, and it depends. Yeah, depends on
We
the
just
day.
know that there's certain music that the cool music is what Dalton plays most of the time. I would say, what is that, like James Blake?
Yeah, that's probably the top.
That's been a big one lately, a big player. I'd be more of the Cat Power, Arcade Fire kind of,
What's wrong with that?
And also then
there is plenty.
there's plenty around.
You've had some. I've come in as well. You've been kind of going for it with a bit of full on, heavy duty rap.
Oh yeah,
time to time.
we're into that. I mean, if that's what Dalton said something along the line, that this is the next frontier in the cafe vibe is rap music, which I think is great. I mean, really, poets of the age. That's what I'm saying. The folk music of our generation. They are the Bob Dylans. But it's not. Oh gosh,
I think you're upsetting a whole lot of people.
Well, Bob Dylan probably upset a lot of people too.
He did.
But Kendrick Lamar is probably upsetting people now because he's bringing the truth. That's what I'm saying.
True, yeah.
It's the truth.
Truth to America. He's not bringing the truth to the world. It's a big world, Tiffany. How many people starving in Africa are listening to Kendrick Lamar and hearing the truth?
Probably not that many, but do they listen to Kendrick Lamar?
Who knows, Tiff?
I don't know. I feel like this is a very shaky ground, and we're going to get some angry comments.
We need to move on very swiftly. I think because it's really just to kind of briefly touch on that, and I mean, one of the things I loved about coming in there as well, it was one of the things that made me fall in love with the place really, was that you used to play, Interpol and the Smiths and all that kind of stuff. You wouldn't know what was going to come on, and I don't think you were just, randomly Spotifying it. I think you were,
He curates playlists. Paul.
Yeah, but again, you can't play too much of anything because then you'll alienate. You want to play what you like because you don't want to offend yourself.
True.
But you don't want to alienate people either. If you had Kendrick Lamar on 24/7,
There'd be a certain crowd that would not be into that.
So you want to give people a choice, and then my friend he plays music sometimes, and his idea is he plays something familiar, and then something interesting, and then if you play familiar all the time, people get bored with it.
Of course, yeah.
And if you play far out music all the time, people are like, whoa, too far out.
Yeah.
So if you just mix it up a bit, then people are like, oh, that's a cool song, and then they're familiar as well.
I remember the other day I tried to show Dalton the Neutral Milk Hotel album in the airplane over the sea, and there were quite a few people that came in at that point that I think were just surprised by the excessive brass and accordion and saw and all that stuff. And it was just, they call it acid folk for a reason, but there was just, you could see the looks on people's faces being like, what are you doing? And they would just sort of be like, yeah, cool, thanks for flat white, bye. And it was just that kind of, so, you know, you just, you can't really really listen to the whole album, so I think that was part of the problem.
Being you know, you're not from Limerick, but, you know, you're married to a Limerick man.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Just for the moment, yeah. I hope he listens to this and hears the confidence.
Do you think the place that this would go down well in your hometown?
Oh yeah, this is kind of, I mean, this is a vibe that I think is, I mean, I'm from Fort Collins area. I grew up in Loveland, but it's right next to Fort Collins, and that's where I spent about the last decade, and there's a lot more of this kind of, I mean, variations on a theme, but this is kind of something that I think would thrive.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we don't even have halloumi where I come from. I mean, that's just not a thing yet. But you guys, you guys what? You never had halloumi? You know?
I'm tripping over halloumi here.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's just coming out your ears.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say most people in Ireland are eating halloumi today.
Well,
Go down to Spar and see how much halloumi
But they sell it at the Tesco even. They sell Tesco brand halloumi.
Yeah, but it's only in a small section. See how many Irish people are eating halloumi.
No, fair enough. I feel like there's just more of that's like it's coming, but it hasn't reached. But then again, the kombucha wave hasn't really gotten here either. I mean, it's much. You know, we got a bunch of that in like the grassroots kind of hippie area, and now it's cool to kind of really care about your health and eat fermented foods.
Good floor is pretty hot.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's not going to be
so hot right now.
Okay. Well, look, I'm jumping because I know you've got stuff to be doing. And, life is too short, right? But just to fly through very quickly, we had a near-death experience kayaking, right?
Oh, Jesus.
And I want you to tell Dalton that if he does come out kayaking with me, that we'd be very careful going up around certain parts of the river.
You guys had a near-death experience?
Thomas kayaks when we went out. Well, they were just throwing stones at us. You couldn't go canoeing in Limerick without getting a stone thrown at you.
No.
Did you have helmets?
No.
I was so embarrassed because I was kind of trying to show Paul a part of Limerick, that I thought was really nice. And the next thing you know, it's like these huge big, boulders start landing next to us, splashing. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And there's like 4 or 5 guys in the bank lobbing over huge rocks, It's like the paddle for our lives.
And you didn't even have helmets, so even if it did hit you in the head, you would have been probably vegetables right
I
there.
remember kind of been so embarrassed and apologise. Don't worry about it. That's it happens. Every town in Ireland, has anyway.
Has that sort of element of the stone throwers.
Well, look, it's just Dalton and myself are kind of hatching a plan to go out sometime, so we'll have to just plan a route that's...
Okay, so
we won't get you here.
But just don't go through the city. Although the kayakers do well.
There seems to be a kayak business down there.
Yeah, and it's flying. We were out around university, but I think it was just a particular stretch of the river. But come here, I want to race through this and finish on your friend of mine, John Logan, who we're all very fond of. And John, I'm trying to get him to do the same thing, sit down and have a chat with us, because, as you know, as everyone here knows, he's a very interesting man, and I believe, he's on the fence about whether he's going to do it, but hopefully, if we say nice things about John Logan, he might agree to do it the next time, maybe in here, where you feel relaxed.
He's susceptible to flattery, do you think so?
John is.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
He's from Leitrim, all those Leitrim guys, they're soft touches when it comes to, but your hair is lovely today, John.
I'll definitely let him know next time that I appreciate his fashion.
Well, that's it. So look, lads, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Short and sweet.
Thank you.
Okay, Hep Cats. This is the part of the show where we play a song from the Arhoolie archive, so pay attention. You can get these tunes from the legendary Arhoolie records at arhoolie.com. Now sit back, open up some One Shot, crank up the volume, and expand your minds, babies.
I hope Buddy play on it, because he just went that way. I want you, baby, to let you know what it's all about. Yes, I want you, baby, let you know what it's all about. The way you love me, baby, you make me happy, and your smile. Come here, baby.
Tune in next episode for more madness from Sean and Tom. This episode was brought to you by Full City Rooster Coffee Roasters, makers of the Sign Painters Blend, the coffee Sean and Tom drink in their studios every day. Also brought to you by RebelRouserHotRods.com. Licensed apparel by Sean Starr, including support your local sign painter gear.